Imagine this, a 13-square-mile peninsula connected to 2 islands by 3 bridges, a home to 453,000 people and 28 casinos. An hour's ferry ride to Hong Kong and only a short bus ride from the mainland of China, it is the perfect spot for tourists, and it sees nearly 20,000 a year. This is Macau, and this is its story. It is a story about rapid development. When Macau became a special administrative region of China in 1999, Macau's economy became entirely focused on the casino industry. Since then, the economy has boomed, leaving Macau with an almost overnight sense of affluence. You can find all the brand names here: Gucci, Versace, BMW, and the list could go on and on. But this affluence isn't all-inclusive, and many longtime residents of Macau are left asking, how long will it last? And what is it doing to our children? While these questions still linger, the affluence has no hint of leaving. It makes this story a story about Western culture meeting Eastern and nearly crashing head-on. Walking down the crowded streets of Macau, it is sometimes easy to forget that you're not in Kansas anymore. McDonald's, KFC, Starbucks, and Pizza Hut are just a few of the familiar names that line the streets. As a modern city, Macau has an abundance of cars, buses, and taxis. Yet you cannot escape the fact that Macau is not America. The language heard on the streets is either Cantonese or Mandarin, and let me tell you, you'll be lucky to be able to tell the difference. The general pace of pedestrians is much slower than you will find in an American city. Macanese take their time in their lives. They truly do sometimes stop to smell the roses. You'll see women walking hand in hand, a sign of friendship, but will very rarely see a man and a woman touch in public, unless, of course, they are married. But this isn't a story about America. It is a story about people, and believe me, they are everywhere. People of all ages, of all origins, and of all sizes. Because of Macau's wealth, it is an attractive place for Chinese and Filipino workers. They come for a few months or years to earn money, to make a better life for their families, or to take advantage of Macau's education and career opportunities. No matter the person, Macau's people are characterized by a sense of hospitality. As curious as you may be about them and their culture, they are just as curious about you and your culture. Despite the language barriers, the smiles communicate enough. This is a place for everyone. And in this place, everyone would tell you that before leaving the house there are 2 essential items to carry: a comfortable pair of shoes and an umbrella. While most natives have small scooters to navigate streets teeming with buses and taxis, those of us who value our life choose the age-old mode of transportation, walking, hence the comfortable shoes. An umbrella is a necessity. Rain or shine, it is a lifesaver. The heat and humidity on any given day is enough to make you want to stay indoors, camped out in front of the air conditioner. But this is highly implausible, since you would never leave. So an umbrella provides that small amount of shade from the scorching sun, and it never hurts to have in one of the many unexpected downpours Macau is accustomed to. In those downpours, many find solace in the restaurants, eating Macau cuisine, making this story one about chopsticks. Macau boasts a vast array of foods: Korean, Thai, Italian, Lebanese, and Japanese, but the most prominent are Portuguese and Chinese. Food is an integral part to the Chinese culture. Most companies allow their employees to have a 2-hour lunch break for the simple fact that no one eats in less than an hour. To the Chinese, meals aren't just about food and nourishment, they are about community. It is not uncommon for a group of people eating at a restaurant to order multiple dishes and then share them. In fact, this is the whole concept of Chinese lunch, called dim sum. At dim sum, the group orders many dishes that are appetizer portions. While eating the many foods, they drink tea and just enjoy the afternoon with their friends. To take a break from the world of chopsticks, many people eat at Portuguese-style restaurants, food for which Macau is famous for throughout Asia. Portuguese egg tarts are especially delicious for those who crave sweet treats, a rarity in Chinese cuisine. And of course, American and Western influence is always present, seen especially in the supermarkets. You can find Campbell's soup, Coke, Snickers, and so much more. But nothing compares to the exquisite taste of authentic Chinese food. But even the bright lights of the restaurant, bars, and casinos can't mask the shadows burying Macau. So this is a story about darkness, about a need for perfection, a stifling sense of duty and obedience, a paralyzing fear of death and the unknown, a haunting realization of the inevitability of fate. Macau has no state religion, so its residents are free to practice any religion that they choose. Most practice some version of Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, or a mixture of all three. Despite their differences, a common thread runs through them all: the futility of life and the inability to change fate. This belief of our futility as humans leads many people to pray to the gods that they believe can control their fate. For this reason, Macau is home to multiple statues of different gods and goddesses. On the coast, Kunyum, a goddess representing compassion, mercy, and love. Kunyum answers the cries and pleas of all beings, especially the underprivileged, women, children, and people at sea. She is believed to be a source of unconditional love, a savior. There's Ama, who has multiple large statues throughout the islands of Macau. She is a motherly image revered by the Chinese. She's especially important in the history of Macau, as she is believed to save those at sea, and being surrounded by water, Macau has a strong devotion to her. In almost every privately owned store or restaurant lives a statue of the warrior Guan Yu. As a god of wealth, he is thought to bless the upright and protect them from the crooked. In a land concerned about wealth, Guan Yu is always remembered. Also remembered constantly are the ancestors that have died. Since most people do not believe in the hope of heaven, their understanding of death is very mystical. No one knows what happens to their loved ones, and it is widely accepted that those who have died still hang around their family members who are still living. For this reason, many families build a small shrine to their ancestors. At this shrine, they daily burn incense or money and lay out food. These gifts supposedly feed their dead loved ones. In return for their homage, the ancestors are said to bless the family in health, wealth, and success. But the powers of darkness don't end there, for Macau's story is very much affected by materialism. When people have much, they feel like they don't need God. They fill any holes in their lives with anything and everything: gambling, alcohol, drugs, women, clothes, cars. Their possessions are seen as their blessing, their savior. If nothing happens when you die, why not indulge yourself when you are living? Unfortunately, this is nothing new. It just goes to show that Satan works in the same way, no matter where you live. Fortunately, this isn't the end of the story, because where it is darkest, the light shines the brightest. Macau, in its hopelessness, is the perfect stage for God to enter, and he does. Macau's people are desperate for hope. They want to believe that they'll see their loved ones again. They want to know that it is okay to be imperfect. They want relief. So they search, and they look far and wide. Some end up in the Catholic or Baptist communities, and some end up here. So this is a story about English, Concordia English Center, working to tutor students wanting to improve their English. But it is so much more. The team of missionaries ebbs and flows. From all areas of America we come, with one thing in common: our commitment to the Lord. There are engineers, farmers, teachers, students, retirees, anything. But we all speak English, and English is our tool to share the gospel. English, which we have all spoken since our childhood, something we take for granted, something we barely even notice anymore, and it is our gift to share to the world. Some students are led here knowing our Christian ties, and some are led by the Spirit and hear the word unknowingly. But whoever walks through our doors, we welcome them with a smile, for this is a story about friendship. They will know we are Christians by our love, and love is one thing that transcends all languages, all cultures, and all people. This story is about love. It is about faith. It is about eternity. But it is not just my story. It is your story too. God has already written the ending, but it still needs to be told. It needs to be shouted from the mountaintops, roared above the ocean, screamed across the plains. How will your voice be heard?